Hey everybody, good morning. How's it going? Hope you're all doing all right today. I'm doing pretty good. My fantasy team had a huge come from behind win last night. Darren Waller on the Raiders, usually not a Raiders fan, but when Darren Waller as a tight end scores you 25 points, it's a good day. All right, let's talk about the periodic table a little bit. This video is probably going to be kind of short, but it won't be your only video for today, so sorry about that. But periodic table. There are different parts and different sections of the periodic table that we need to kind of familiarize ourselves with some terminology. And the first is groups. And groups is the term that we give to the vertical columns on the periodic table. Okay, so the columns that go up and down, we refer to those as groups, and they are all numbered. Okay, so I can say group 1 or group 2 or group 13, and I'm referring to a specific column on the periodic table. The next would be periods, and periods are the horizontal rows that go across the periodic table. Okay, and again, we can number those period 1, period 2, period 3, etc. like that. All right. And then I would love a good chemistry joke. And I would tell you all the good ones, but they are gone. I cracked myself up. Anyways, okay, so some sections within the periodic table. Metals. Metals on the periodic table are on the left-hand side and in the middle. And I'll show you a picture of a couple pictures of the periodic table here in a sec that kind of give you a description or a visual on where these are. So metals are on the left and in the middle. The first group, and remember groups go up and down, so group 1 is called the alkali metals. Group 2 is called the alkaline earth metals. And then we get to the transition metals, and those are the section in the middle, the big thick section in the middle of the periodic table. That is called the transition metals. Okay, and then once we get out of the transition metals, we get into the metalloids. Okay, and that's kind of that stair step that you see on the periodic table. The metalloids, they exhibit some metallic characteristics and some not, and so that's why we call them metalloids. Then we get to nonmetals, which would be on to the right hand and above of the stair step. Okay, to the right and above the stair step. And nonmetals are typically things like gas. Okay, gases like oxygen or nitrogen or hydrogen, but they can also be solids like phosphorus and sulfur as well. Okay, so nonmetals are basically just elements that are not metals. As we continue to move to the right on the periodic table, we get to the halogens, and the halogens are the group that starts with fluorine up at the top. So fluorine starts the halogens, and then we get to the noble gases, and that's the group with helium. Okay, let's look at this though. So here is a general picture of the periodic table, and you can see here that this whole section over here to the left and into the middle is called the metals. And so this section in here is our transition metals. These would be the alkali and alkaline earth metals. The blue over here would be considered your transition metals. And then the yellow would be your nonmetals, and things like fluorine or oxygen, carbon, and phosphorus. Those are all over here in the nonmetals. Okay, here's a little bit more detailed periodic table, and so you can see that each of these colors means something. We talked about the alkali metals here in group 1, alkaline earth, group 2, transition metals. There's that light pink transition metals. The metalloids are this ugly green color. Okay. The halogens start with fluorine, And right there, that's group number 17. Okay, so halogens are group 17. The noble gases are group 18, and those are the ones that start with helium. Okay. Everybody always sees these two rows down here at the bottom, but nobody really knows what they mean or what they're doing kind of down here and at the bottom. So what we do with these two rows when we look at the periodic table, the two rows that are down at the bottom actually go in right here in that area right there. Okay, the top one goes right there, and then the second one goes right there. And what that does is it actually expands the periodic table and makes it about twice as wide as it normally would be. And so to kind of fix that, chemists have removed these two sections and just put them down below to basically just to make it fit on a piece of paper a little bit easier. Okay, and so these two sections are called the lanthanides and actinides, and we won't really talk about those. You don't talk about those until you take a higher level chemistry class like college chemistry or AP chemistry or something like that. Okay, so but that's just so you know that that's what those two rows are down there for. All right. That's about all we're going to talk about at this point in time about the periodic table. We're going to talk a lot about it later on because within the structure of the periodic table, there's a lot of things that we can learn and a lot of things that it tells us just based off of where an element is located or in what group or period. So we'll learn more about the periodic table a little bit later. All right, go watch your next video.